Okay, so today I'm going to try and teach you cute M1 killer mains how you can use the defensive Lisa Sherwood in an aggressive playstyle. Now, I'm being serious when I say that you need to forget everything you've heard about how to play the Hag when you watch this video, because you're going to have to change the way you look at trapping the map. If you can grasp the concepts I'm about to lay out for you, in theory, you should be able to use any knowledge you have now, any knowledge you learn from playing the Hag later, and anything you see anybody else do if you watch Hag gameplay, and then put it all together to create your very own unique playstyle with the Hag.
Space Coconut.
The first step to playing an aggressive Hag is to stop limiting yourself by the word defensive. Players in general call the Hag a defensive killer because trapping generators and hooks is the very basic way to play Hag. She's technically the best camper in the game, and since many people have a very hard time breaking away from that mindset, they miss out on more effective ways of playing her. But let's talk about why her being a defensive killer has no impact on her ability to be played aggressively. This guy is a defensive lineman. His overall job is to stop the ball from reaching the goal. This guy is an offensive quarterback, and his overall job is to get the ball to the goal. Now watch this.
Versus the blitz, Marcus Williams, he's actually covering the tight end Fedora.
While the play stops the ball from reaching the goal, does this look like a defensive play? This dude gets through the offensive line who are supposed to defend the quarterback and smashes into him, ruining his whole day. People can say Hag is defensive all day long. It doesn't mean she can't actively go out and slap survivors around. This is where your head needs to be in order to play as an aggressive Hag. With this in mind, let's look at her built-in weakness, her movement speed. One piece of advice you'll hear most often is that you shouldn't chase with Hag. This is good advice most of the time. But what should you do if you find a survivor running into a dead zone? Chase the survivor with the intent to down them, or chase the survivor to get rid of some pallets and set some traps during the chase. A good survivor is going to run away when you start setting a trap. If they run, then you've set a good trap that other survivors don't know about and you can capitalize on later. A bad survivor is going to fall into that trap and get you an early down. All of this is happening while other survivors are working on gens or healing. This advice is of course very dependent on the game state, which is why you need to make these decisions for yourself in the heat of the moment during a match. Playing Hag aggressively is a brain game. You need to be able to see the game state, think about where survivors are and will be in the future, and make sure that you are there before they are. And this is why I mainly trap pallets and vaults. Survivors will never avoid a pallet or a vault during a chase. There's potential for outplays and mind games on both sides, but survivors will try to loop when given the chance. Players are going to say that you're just setting up your web. This is the defensive way of thinking about it. Instead, what if you say that you're cutting off their escape route? They're both defensive, but one way of thinking is more aggressive than the other. It's just semantics, but I hope you get my point. Now that you're familiar with the aggressive mindset I'm trying to give you, let's look at the most standard escapes survivors have. I'll use a recent match with a neat play near the end. I'll talk about each trap I set, why, and I'll share my thought process when it gets triggered. The most common obstacle survivors use in this jungle gym is the window. We're starting on the inside, so to save time, we trap on the inside, although I prefer to set a trap on the outside near one of the corners. Vault traps are more unreliable in my opinion because the survivor will often keep running, which can put them out of range of a swing since the trap won't trigger until they're on the ground on the other side already. I like to trap standard pallet loops on one of the sides of the pallet. A survivor running into the trap can be hit before they make it there safely, or can be mind game if they trigger the trap and drop the pallet from the other side. There are many things that can happen with this trap, but it's also the most common, so practice it. An LT wall variant. I prefer to trap at the base of the T wall. A survivor running this path will most often feel safest through the T window and will go for the fast vault through the L. But you can also push a survivor into it from either side if you need to. The injured survivor was running for the fast vault to get to the opposing wall furthest away from my current position. Here, we're just going to punish some altruism. Trapping the item here doubles as a window vault trap. I don't expect the trap to do more than just slow the recovery of the item. Jungle Gym number 2 is basically a standard pallet loop trap. I saw the injured survivor here, so I want to chase her into a trap. She knows about the trap, so we just want to use a standard mind game to get her instead. Dead Hard makes us miss, but the trap makes her mess up the pallet drop and we get the down. She wanted to be on the other side, but the camera spin did some work. Standard pallet loop trap. We're also testing the Meg to see if she runs away or not. If she runs, this is still a good trap that can get the rescuing or rescued survivor from nearby. She keeps running, so we'll flank her. She turns early, so we teleport when we think she's right next to the Phantasm. Easy hit. Favorite LT trap? This is the vault trap. She might have been looking for her flashlight and forgot about the trap I set. Hook traps aren't too effective at stopping or capitalizing on rescues, but they are very good for slowing them down, and you'll need all the extra time you can get. Trapping the item, triggered hook trap, resetting the trap, and starting a chase. Triggered LT trap. Meg might have been going for the rescue and used sprint burst once she triggered the trap. She put herself in a bad spot by going away from the LT wall once it happened. Favorite LT trap? In this instance, I'm thinking that the LT trap will double as a hook trap, so I only need one trap. Standard pallet trap incoming. And Dead Hard saves her. We break the pallet because we know she's going to run for the jungle gym since she thinks the other jungle gym is probably trapped. We want this survivor down so we don't take this teleport. Injured survivor wants to get to the safe side of the window and will 100% try to vault it. Meg is just a bonus. Reset the vault trap because we always reset traps that work. Never chases Hag, right? This is where it's safe to do so. We take a wide left to push her into that trap to the right. It was a hook trap that survivors didn't trigger during a rescue. This trap is why crouching isn't exactly a counter to traps because the traps are still there. Standard hook trap. I usually trap the palletless door, so I'm not sure why I set this one here. The center of the shack can cover both the vault and the pallet. It's not a bad trap, but I personally find the door trap to be more reliable since survivors are trying to get through and might be expecting a trap at the vault or pallet. We force survivors to run, triggering the trap. We chase Meg because she no longer has decisive. One gen is done. She's on death hook, and we have all the time in the world to deal with the last two survivors. We take this free hit. Meg looks behind, gets stuck, realizes she's dead, and she's gone. Meg isn't wiggling, so I'm just walking around with Starstruck and trying to capitalize on the exposed hit. But then I realized that she's actually faster than me while carrying the survivor, which doesn't make any sense. So I decide to hook her on this upcoming hook instead. I have 30 seconds, once I do, to catch her and take advantage of her exposed status. I'm hoping that she goes into the shack and she's going to be taken out, but she keeps going instead. Jungle Gym number 3, Vault Trap. Survivors can't run in a straight line after this vault, so the slight delay can get us a hit. Plus, I expect this survivor to run the Jungle Gym since she can't see me. Now here's the fun one. Zarina triggered the trap in the shack. We don't know if it was deliberate or not, but Yoon is running to the shack and we don't have a trap there anymore. If it was deliberate, they might be in a group, but we don't know. Pause the video, and in the comments below, let me know what you would do in this situation. No cheating. Let's go back to the start of the chase once you're done. Okay, so let's explain this one. Zarina moves to the left and the Phantasm is following her. We hold our teleport because Yoon is 100% going into the shack and we can cut her off if we teleport right when she's focused on the shack. Zarina turned, which threw our camera off a little bit, so we had to adjust and figure out where we were and turn towards the door. But our timing was perfect. Yoon sees us and panics, which makes her leave the safety of the shack with absolutely no plan whatsoever. In her panic, she runs to the only safe spots she can see. But we get this hit because she hesitates on pulling the pallet down. She hesitates because of our crazy shack play. Center of the pallet is a variation of the standard pallet loop where you can get an instant teleport hit from either direction. I use this trap most when I'm using shackles, since survivors usually go straight through pallets, but in this case we want her to leave the pallet to make it safer for her to get picked up by the last survivor. The shack vault trap should be placed far away, since survivors will both run out of the shack at full speed or do their best to run along the wall. It can mess them up both ways. But the instant teleport hit works anyway because Yoon didn't move away from the trap once knockout wore off. So here's the total. During this match, we set 16 traps. 13 traps get triggered, and we get hits from 9 of those traps. Imagine getting that kind of accuracy with another killer that can down with their power like the nurse. Most of those traps can be used in any map because the tiles are the same and survivors usually take the same routes every time. The trick is simply looking at a high traffic escape route that the survivors use and trap them as you go. But the most important skill for Hag is simply thinking ahead of survivors, and that only comes with practice. If this video helped you understand the aggressive mindset a little more, give it a like and let me know in the comments below. I'll do more gameplay analyses like these in the future if I get another match that would help you out by analyzing it. But until then, I'm Space Coconut, and you're welcome.